Hi everyone, it's Lord Uvos here. Today we're going to go ahead and build the ship from my last video called the Skymole, which is basically an aerial tunnel bore based on the Valkyrian Skies engine. There's two major submods to Valkyrian Skies. I'm sure you're already familiar. There's Eureka and Clockwork. Eureka allows for more basic airships involving a ship helm and balloons, while Clockwork is more advanced, involving propellers and other mechanics. Right now, Clockwork's in development, so as the mod gets updated frequently, I will transition to building ships purely based on the Clockwork system. But right now, I'm working on upgrading this ship to Clockwork. It's not in the video currently, but it involves a little bit more nuance and a little bit more space to be able to successfully implement propellers and afterblazers and whatnot. But for now, to get the most out of the ship, I'll simply be utilizing the Eureka mod, which is a one-size-serves-all solution to building this airship. There will be a full list of mods in the description below, and for what it's worth, you'll need the Create mod and the Tinker's Construct mod. The Tinker's Construct mod is purely for the glass aesthetic that I'm being using. If you could see on the ship, these glass blocks, I forgot what they're called exactly. I think they're seared glass, but the aesthetic is really clean and I enjoy it. That's why I'm using the Tinker's Construct mod. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So just go ahead and grab your schematic from the description and the link below and put it in your schematic table. If you're in survival, you'll probably need some scaffolding to get under and around the ship while supergluing, so just keep that in mind. Again, you should be familiar with the Create mod. If you're not, then I'd recommend looking at some tutorials on YouTube before attempting to build this ship. So go ahead and place your schematic down over here and go ahead and raise it on the y-axis a couple blocks up. Make sure it's not touching the ground, because if it is, sometimes the Eureka mod glitches out and the ship helm will assemble the ground below it, which you don't want. Another thing to note is that you do not want to rotate the schematic. If you rotate it, all the components of the ship will break and it won't work. So just make sure that you leave the schematic as it is in the orientation it was originally provided. Once you print your schematic, go ahead and open these two trapdoors on either side. For now, this is what we're going to be using to get in and out of the ship while we're building it or assembling it. The first item on the menu is assembling the ship using the ship helm. The reason why we do this first is because in Valkyrian Skies, some of the components will not assemble correctly when being physics infused. This includes, but is not limited to, superglue, lava, and some of the redstone components. So that's why we're doing this first and not last, because if you do it after, it'll just break everything and you'll have to do it all over again. Okay, so go ahead and shift click your helm and hit assemble, and after that go ahead and click it again and hit F5 to go into third person view. Go ahead and move around a little bit. Take this baby for a spin. Make sure that it's clean. There's nothing wonky going on. There's no lava. There's no blocks falling out, or it's not getting stuck. Just make sure that everything's working smoothly as far as turning and whatnot goes. Okay, once you've checked that and you've made sure that everything works fine, now it's the part where you actually have to assemble the ship. Unfortunately, it's not as easy as that. You actually have to super glue stuff together. You have to assemble a few parts here and there in order to get this ship functional. I wish it was that easy. So go ahead and grab this super glue right here. I put it on an item frame for easy access when it pops out when you assemble the ship. Same thing with these engineering goggles. Go ahead and put those on. You'll need them. And yeah, go ahead and go to the back of your ship. Now, first things first, there's a toolbox right here. This toolbox has everything that you need, I believe, except you need a little bit more water than I provided, but I'm not quite sure on that. But if you do, just grab a few more buckets of water. You'll be fine. Okay, so go ahead and grab your 4 pulse repeaters and your 4 sticky pistons. The first thing that we're going to do is fix a circuit that gets broken when the ship assembles. I don't know why it does it, but it just does it. It's quite an easy fix. It literally just takes 1 minute to fix. Go ahead and put your 4 repeaters down here. Make sure these repeaters are set to 1 second. And these are set to 15 ticks. And then go ahead and place your 4 sticky pistons. Make sure they're facing down, all of them. And these ones will activate because the torches are activated. And that's it. That's all you have to worry about. The back panel circuit is perfectly okay. It assembled properly. It was just the front panel, for some reason it breaks every single time I assemble it. I don't know why. It's some weird glitch. But anyways, that's all you have to worry about. That part's done and over with, so we don't have to worry about the sticky pistons and the pulse repeaters anymore. For the next part is setting up the generator. Now, to do that, all we have to do is waterlog these stairs, put a few buckets in that chest, and go ahead and fill up some of these cauldrons so we can get the engine rolling a little bit quicker. You don't have to fill in these cauldrons, but I prefer to because it speeds things up a little. For the sake of this video, I'm going to go ahead and do that. So first things first, let's go ahead and fill in these stairs, or waterlog them. Fill that one in, fill this one in. Should waterlog the third one, I believe it will. Yeah, it did. Okay, cool. And then go ahead and fill this chest with 16 buckets. And then finally, what you want to do is fill in these cauldrons with lava. You might have to come back here an additional time to refill them. When you're first starting your engine, it really depends on how fast you want this engine to go up to full capacity. The full capacity is 147,000 SU. That's what you want. Go any lower than that and the ship won't work. On the plus side, once the ship does get rolling, it will stay that way forever. It's an infinite lava generator, basically. And so the power will continuously run forever, basically. So you want to do the same thing here, is fill this with water. Waterlog all these stairs, these 3 stairs, this, 1, 2, and 3. Waterlog those 3 parts. For this next part, we just want to come to the roof. You can do so, just climb up the ladder, come up here. Go ahead and break these center drills right above the redstone contact. Try not to break the contact, because if you do, you're going to have to, figure out which one of the links it was that you broke, or you'll just have to rebuild it from scratch and look at a schematic again. But yeah, just go ahead and break these drills until you enter this cavity right here, this is where the lava sources are going to go, and it's just going to drip down into the dripstones below, into the cauldrons below, and that's what's going to keep the lava generator, or the engine, the steam engine, running. So just go ahead and fill that up. It's 14, I believe. That's how many blocks you need to fill in with lava. Okay, right, so go ahead and fill these blocks back up. Make sure it's lined up, facing front to back, not side to side. And that's it for the lava source and the generator. And one more thing. Make sure that this part is belted up right here. And then go ahead and start your generator. Now, what happens is that when you start your generator, there's a pump that basically pumps in lava, and sometimes it glitches out right over here, and it goes from left to right for some reason. Even when the ship assembles, it originally starts as right to left, but it swaps for some reason. They fixed this in Create 0.5.1, but for some reason in the current version it still does this. All you'd have to do is hit it with a wrench, turn it back around, and then the generator should start working as normal. Make sure to do that part, because if you don't, you're just going to keep winding it. It's never going to power up. The engine's never going to ramp up or rev up. Now, the thing is that if it's not at 147,000 and you turn on the engine, it'll overstress. Easy thing is just to turn it back off and make sure that the generator reaching maximum capacity. While you're doing it, just keep checking the boiler status level until it reaches 147,000. Once you're there, you can unlock and lock the engine to the rest of the ship at will. Right, so it's still a little slow for me right now, so I'm going to just go ahead and fill those cauldrons back up with some lava. It takes about 19 minutes for one of these cauldrons to fully fill up with lava, so by doing it manually at the very beginning, you'll basically save yourself a little bit of time. So it's at 147,000. It'll fluctuate between 145 and 147, but that's good enough. That's what you need here. We want to go ahead and go to our ship lock or our engine lock and unlock our engine so that power goes throughout the ship. We can turn this on and off at will. It does not break any of the components on the ship. It just simply locks the engine, so in case it gets overstressed by accident, you can simply turn it off, start the engine, and then turn this back on again, releasing power back into the ship. A super simple mechanism right there. Two more things that we have to do. One, we just have to attach the belts down there, which I'll do right away. And then the next thing is supergluing the components. There's 5 parts to the ship that need to be superglued. There's this lift system right here. There's the right door, the left door and the right door, the front drill panel and the back drill panel. Once we superglue those together, that's pretty much it as far as assembly goes. Then after that, the only thing that we have to do after that is basically me explaining some of the mechanisms of how the circuits work. And that's pretty simple too. It's super intuitive. I tried to basically build a circuit that is user friendly, and I hope you guys enjoy it as much as I do. Right, so that's the belts. It's 9 of them in all, I believe. Just go ahead and belt all those together. And once you're done with that, let's get to the super gluing. So to start out, what we want to do is let's get the doors taken care of first, because I think these doors honestly are the hardest parts that we need to super glue. So go ahead and start in the center stair here. Click this box right here. Go up this ladder. If you're in survival, just crawl up that ladder. And basically select the andesite casing that's a square from that middle staircase. Once you've got that, go ahead and go 6 up. So you want a 6x2 rectangle, and then go ahead and select the mechanical bearing here. This is just for aesthetics. This is not an operational mechanical bearing. It's just there because it's seamless with the other one. Do the same thing on the other side. It's this stair right here, and it comes to this square on this side. And it's 6x2 on this side, and this is the mechanical, it's the second mechanical bearing that is the aesthetic one. After that, all you do is press the button on both sides and just fill in this part with andesite casing and 2 more stairs. Same thing on this side, andesite casing and 2 more deep slate stairs. Go ahead and take this and do another 6x2 like that. And again, 6x2 like that. And it should be operational. The thing to note about these doors is that they're usually pretty good, but sometimes they break. The damage they do, if they do break, is not catastrophic. It can be easily repaired. It's quite simple to repair it. You just basically fill in the missing blocks. These 2 sometimes can get damaged. It's just 2 more mechanical bearings like this. So if it breaks like this, then all you do is put 2 mechanical bearings. They're not operational, as I said, they're aesthetic. There's for aesthetics, and you just put the drills like that. That's if it breaks that way. If it breaks the other way, then all you would do is just, fill in these 2 with andesite casing. It's really that simple. So if it breaks, it's not a big deal. It's easily repairable. The next part is the lift system. It's just very simple. Remove the staircase right here and click this barrel and come down here. If you're in survival, you can use scaffolding to get down there. And go 3 out and 4 long. So 3x4. Then after that, go ahead and click this center barrel, top center barrel. And then go up 1 and click on the furnace. So you have 2x2 super glued together, and then go ahead and click on the furnace and go up 2. And if you did everything correctly, go ahead and put the stair back. If you did everything correctly, it should operate. Now the cool thing about this lift is that it actually operates, it doubles as a quarry in regular Create. So it just operates exactly like a quarry would. It doesn't go very far. You can change the parameters of the block distance over here, if you click on this, you can change the piston distance to increase or decrease as needed. I prefer to keep it a low number because if you increase it too much and you spam these buttons, it can break those, which is annoying to deal with. That's why I leave it at 5. And don't click the other one unless this one turns off, basically. So if I click this one, don't click this button until the red light goes away, basically. The red light will stay on longer if you increase the block distance. That's why I keep it short and simple. Right, so that's the lift finished. Now the next part is the front drill panel. Forgot that. Now the front panel is also very simple. It's actually, the front and back panels are actually the simplest part. Is just take it all the way forward. From right here, there's the mechanical bearing for the opening sequence. And then here's the mechanical bearing for the closing sequence. Same thing on this side, all the way out to the end. And then now basically all you want to do is super glue everything to the north of this brass funnel and to the left of this brass funnel. So the way I would do this is usually just select there and select all the way back, and then select this funnel all the way up to here. And that's okay if it's hollow here. I mean, it has a spruce trapdoor, which is considered a full block, so don't be alarmed if it looks like it's not picking it up. It is. And finally, the panel itself. Everything past this glass window should be selected. And then finally, let's go ahead and assemble the back panel. The most important part of the back panel is this redstone contact. If this redstone contact is missing, then it will screw up the whole back panel and not open and close correctly, which will break the ship. So you want to make sure that that thing is glued in first. Next thing is you want to pick these 4 corners and go 3 up or 3 down depending on where they are. If you're to the top side, just go 3 up from there. Again, 3 up here. It's the ones right next to the mechanical bearings. And again. And again. And then all you have to do is go 6 back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 by 2 all the way here. And again, 6 by 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 6 right here. Yep. And that's it. That's it for the first part. I will explain how everything works in the second part. Okay, so if you did everything correctly, then the ship should function. The way to test that is just to go down here, and this front button right here will lower or raise the front panel. You can press it again to lower it. And the back button will do the same for the back panel. But a better way to visualize it or to see what's going on is to grab the link controller from here, which is basically the same controls. I already have one in my inventory, but you can just break that lectern and grab it yourself. You can press the S key for the back panel to open and close it. Press it again to open it. And you can press the forward key or the W key to open the front panel and close it. Now this is the circuit I was referring to earlier that basically when the panel is closed and the contacts are active, it sends a signal to this circuit right here, which basically locks the sequence gear shift in place that only allows one axis of turning. If the drill panel is already open, then it will only close. And if the drill panel is already closed, it will only open because the redstone signal needs a block in front of it in order to be transferred over to the redstone link. So it's a pretty simple circuit, but it does the job and it's useful for a reason that I'll explain later in the video. That's pretty much it. I could just demonstrate how it works real quick. So it swaps sides, and this piston activates while this one retracts, and now it does that the same again. And this is the circuit for the back panel. Okay, that's it for the first circuit. The second circuit involves the drill access power itself. As you can see, currently the 4 drills are powered, but the bottom, the back, and the ceiling drills are not. The reason why that is that we only have a limited amount of power in the ship itself. If we were to activate all the drills at the same time, they would have to operate at such a slow speed that they would practically be ineffective. The way to circumnavigate that is to basically lock each face or each drill face while one is active. And I basically created a circuit that does just that. Let me show you the circuit real quick. If I press shift, it basically swaps between each of the drills, locks 3, and only allows one drill face to be powered at a time. This is super useful because, as I said, you want to utilize the full extent of the power available on the ship. But let me show you what it looks like on the outside. If I press shift, the front drills are activated. And the coolest thing is that these indicator lights tell you which face is activated. So a 1 light on each side means the forward facing drills are activated. If you press shift again, that means the bottom drills are activated, and there's 2 sets of lights on each side. If you press it again, it means the back drills are activated. And then if you press it one more time, then the roof drills are activated. This is easily spammable. It will not break the contraption. It will not screw up anything. It will not overstress. It's basically overstress proof, so you don't need to worry about anything. You can spam it as many times as you want. This button in the front on the left-hand side does the exact same thing. You press it and it acts exactly as shift does on the Link controller. It does not break anything if you press it or button mash it. You can play with it as you will. One thing to note, however, is that the back set of drills, if they are activated, you need to press S to retract your back panel so that way they're active. And another thing to note is that if, let's say, you come up and press shift again, this line of chain drives will activate, but it's not connected to the roof drills. Neither is it connected to the bottom drills. So if I do that again, neither are connected, so they will not activate. Once again, this does not screw up the circuit, but it simply means that you need to retract your back panel for that to operate. I'll explain the importance of this back panel in a few minutes once we get to mining. But that's pretty much how the circuit works, guys, the second circuit at least. And that pretty much covers all the circuits on the ship, or all the important ones at least. Another thing to note is the lights right here, the light switch. You can turn on these lights and it will turn on the ship lights. It doesn't interfere with anything else. You can just turn it on and off at will. It's purely aesthetic. And another thing is a lock for the item retrieval system. And this is a vault right here that basically collects all the items from your drilling sessions, your mining sessions, and it keeps it stored. Now, when you decide that you want to deload all your items, you simply press that lever and it will unlock this brass funnel, and it will basically spit out all the items that you've accumulated over your mining trip, and you can create a collection system down there, anywhere really, and you can use it, make a water-based collection system that catches all the items and stores them into chests. But yeah, that pretty much covers everything as far as the ship goes. So once again, this forward button activates the front panel, this button activates the back panel, this button swaps between the drill axes, this button is the engine lock itself. If you lock the engine, it won't break any of the circuits. You can just turn it back on and it will operate as it's supposed to. The indicator lights can be seen from this angle as well, and that pretty much covers everything as far as the mechanics of the ship go. Let's get to mining, shall we? All right, once you find a nice spot that you want to mine on, the first thing you want to do is go ahead and shift click the helm and align it. The next thing you want to do is go ahead and retract your front panel and turn on your floor drills. And once you do that, you're going to want to basically find your angle of descent. If you need to, again, you can click your ship helm and hit align and then lower your ship. Sometimes this little glitch out happens where the ship starts wiggling from side to side. Easy fix, again, just click your ship helm and hit align. And that stops the shaking from happening. So yeah, just come down, make sure your drills are on first off, and wiggle your way into a hole. Sometimes it doesn't happen the first time, you just kind of have to like work your way in there. There you go. See, now it's going. So here I'm just digging down a couple 100 blocks or so. Maybe not 100 blocks, but deep enough anyways. I think this height is good. Okay, cool. So now the explanations from earlier will come in handy in practice right here. So let's go ahead and crawl out the side real quick. Okay, let's just go ahead and crawl out the back over here real quick. So as you can see here, the front panel is retracted. When you attempt to deploy it back down, it gets stuck. And the reason why this is because it's correctly operating according to Valkyrian Skies physics. Because there's a wall right in front of it, the mechanical bearing contraption does not have enough space to deploy forward. Now there's a workaround that I made. This involves the back panels. Now since in my design the back panels don't require any sort of viewership or don't need a HUD display, I could very easily design the back panels to fold inwards as a set of two instead of one large panel. This basically allows the panels to retract and activate the back drills, allowing you to dig backwards, creating enough space for you to retract the forward drills or to deploy the forward drills. So in truth, this mechanism took a while to figure out, but once I got it working, it really does work like a charm. This is what allows the ship to operate as a proper tunnel bore on the x-axis, while also maintaining its ability to traverse the y-axis up and down. It's super cool, and I hope you guys enjoy this feature as much as I do. Okay, for this part, I'm just basically demonstrating how the drills are actually working and how the retrieval system is working behind it. So as you can see, the encased fans and the chutes right behind the drills will pull the items upwards into the brass funnels, onto the belts, and into the vault. If you come up here with me, you can see that there's a real-time display of all the items that you're acquiring during this mining session. And again, all this information is being provided real-time by the content observers beneath us. Now, once all the materials that you need are gathered, it's time for our ascent. This is also quite easy. It's very simple. All you do is you press your forward panel button and your panels will lift. Sometimes, however, if you're right up against the wall, there won't be enough space for your panel to retract properly. So just go ahead and scoot back a little bit and try again. If it still doesn't work, then there's still one more solution. What you can do is activate your ceiling drills anyways while your front panel is still facing forward. Now, the area right above you won't be activated, so you won't be able to properly ascend, but what you can do is the ceiling drills in the back will still dig one block up. So after breaking that one block layer, all you need to do is move your ship back and then retract your forward-facing drills, and in that one block space that you just opened up, it should be able to retract properly. And the rest is fairly simple, guys. Just make sure that your ceiling drills are still turned on and push up against the front wall while holding space, and slowly but surely you should be able to ascend. Once you break the surface, you can easily just retract your back panels, and that will basically shorten the distance or the length of your ship, allowing you to squeeze through that opening that you just created. And one last thing, guys, once you've reached your destination, to deload all your items, all you have to do is come to this lever in the back over here, the top one, go ahead and flick it, and outside over here you can see that it's spitting out all the items. That pretty much wraps it up, guys. Thanks so much for watching, and please like and subscribe if you want to see more stuff from me.